This is the OTB Network.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Horses and Courses, brought to you by Parting Glass Racing. I'm Jean Wood, here on the backstretch at Saratoga. We're not going to start off our racing recap with Saratoga, but we're going to finish things off at the Spa. We have a terrific weekend's worth of racing to bring you, and we will head to Monmouth Park. To start, we'll go back to Saturday, 1 mile and a 16th, fillies in the Desert Vixen.
They're racing in the Desert Vixen. Bit of a slow start for Jody Slew, who then got squeezed back. It's Island Time right out to the front. On the inside is Triple Cream. Potosina came out running in third. Jody Slew is fourth, just alongside of Profiteroles as they race by us for the first time at a slow pace. Island Time crawling along on the lead. Potosina just a neck back in second. Behind them, Triple Cream. Profiteroles extricated from the rail and just one off the rail now, just 2.5 lengths off the lead. On the far outside is Jody Slew, caught 3 deep into that turn, trailing Island Time by 2.5 lengths. The first quarter, 23-4, and they make their way to the backstretch. Island Time and Carlos Marquez Jr. a half length in front. Potosina to the outside second. Behind them comes Triple Cream. And right alongside of Triple Cream is Jody Slew. Profiteroles is last, and she is 4 lengths from the front after a 47-2 half mile. Island Time, 3/4 of a length ahead of Potosina. Triple Cream, third on the inside of Jody Slew, and Profiteroles is moving 3 wide. As they go into the turn, she's beginning to edge up, but will get the widest run. Island Time continues to lead the way. Been in front every step of the way so far. Potosina draws even midway on the far turn. Profiteroles makes her bid 4 deep. It's a ground-saving trip for Triple Cream, and she's coming on now. And she finds a perfect seam just to the outside of Island Time. They're into the stretch. Island Time still there, holding on to the lead from Triple Cream. And it's down to these two. It's Island Time and Triple Cream coming. Island Time holding her off, though. And Island Time wins the Desert Vixen. Triple Cream was second. Potosina edged out. Profiteroles for third.
Island Time picking up the victory as the longest shot on the board, almost 16-1 on the front end every step of the way, and she had to fight hard for that lead, but was able to hold sway by 1.5 lengths over Triple Cream, with Potosina back in the third spot. Off a 7th place finish in the Boiling Springs at 1 mile and a 16th on the turf, her third off the layoff, having sprinted in her return race. She stretches out and pulls off the upset over Triple Cream. A nice performance by Island Time, whose most recent win had come at Tampa. Island Time is a bay daughter of Trippy, from Queen Candace by Candy's Gold, bred in Florida by Carl M. Hohensee and owned by Bill and Vicky Poston, trained by Jason Service and ridden to victory by Carlos Marquez Jr. Island Time covers the 1 mile and a 16th in 140.32. We'll head right back to Monmouth Park now and continue with stakes racing action in the much-anticipated $400,000 Ladies' Secret for fillies and mares.
They're racing in the Ladies' Secret Stakes. Rachel Alexandra came out fine just to the outside of Queen Martha and Stage Trick on the inside. Yes, She's a Lady is out running in fourth. Then it's Ask the Moon in fifth, followed by Fabulous Babe, and Hark is reined well off the pace as the field makes their way to the first turn, where Rachel Alexandra is going to sit off of front-running Queen Martha. These two go by the opening quarter into the clubhouse turn in 23 4/5 seconds. It is Queen Martha, the leader, by 1.5 lengths. Rachel Alexandra is outside of Stage Trick and is now clearly in second. Yes, She's a Lady is fourth, and now 2.5 lengths off the lead. Behind her is Ask the Moon. Fabulous Babe is hard held, and it's 3 lengths back to Hark in the back. They're on to the back stretch, where Joe Bravo and Queen Martha lead the horse of the year, Rachel Alexandra, by 1 length. They ran a 47-4 half mile. The pace is slow. Stage Trick is third on the inside. Yes, She's a Lady follows in fourth. Ask the Moon is now 4 lengths off the lead. Then it's Fabulous Babe and Hark. And at the half-mile pole, it is still Queen Martha. She's been on top every step of the way. Calvin Burrell now sending Rachel Alexandra to the outside of her, and there she goes. She is right alongside of Queen Martha now, midway on the far turn. Queen Martha still with a neck in front. Rachel Alexandra and a cool Calvin Burrell right alongside as they come to the top of the stretch. They ran 3/4 in 1:12 and 1. They're into the stretch, and Rachel Alexandra roars into the stretch with a 1.5 length lead. Queen Martha left behind on the inside, but she's run a game race, and Rachel Alexandra is now moving away by 3 over Queen Martha. And it is Rachel Alexandra in an encore at the Jersey Shore. She wins it by 3. Queen Martha was second, Ask the Moon was third, and Stage Trek finished fourth.
Rachel Alexandra gets the job done under Calvin Burrell by a 3-length margin over Queen Martha, with Ask the Moon back in the third spot. Of course, Rachel Alexandra started out her year this year with a couple of performances that I think had to be considered disappointing, considering the season she had last year. Last out victorious in the Fleur de Lis at Churchill Downs, and here back in the winner's circle once more at Monmouth Park, the scene of one of her biggest wins, last year's running of the Grade 1 Haskell. Rachel Alexandra draws clear nicely by 3 under Calvin Burrell. Rachel Alexandra is a 4-year-old bay filly, a daughter of Medaglia d'Oro from Lotta Kim by Roar. Bred in Kentucky by Dolphus C. Morrison and owned by the Stone Street Stables and Harold McCormick, trained by Steve Asmussen and ridden to victory by Calvin Burrell. Rachel Alexandra covers the 9 furlongs at Monmouth in 149.78. We'll continue with stakes racing action from Monmouth, this time Sunday's stakes feature 2-year-olds in the Tyro.
They're racing in the Tyro. Vengeful Wildcat sent right out to take the lead. Brother in Arms away running in second on the inside. Christie's Born to Run is third early. After that, Ghost Black to the outside, followed by Fire Pole, and Sweet Ducky is last early and racing 5 off the lead. The leader is Brother in Arms. Brother in Arms will take them into the turn in front by a 1.5 lengths. Vengeful Wildcat second. The first quarter was 22 2/5 seconds. Then it's the first-time starter Christie's Born to Run, third on the inside and just in behind the leaders. Ghost Black circles up on the far outside, and then comes Sweet Ducky, and now Fire Pole is the trailer as Brother in Arms and Vengeful Wildcat come to the top of the stretch. 1-2. Brother in Arms, Vengeful Wildcat. Christie's Born to Run cuts the corner, running a big one as they race into the final 16th. On the inside, here comes Christie's Born to Run, but Vengeful Wildcat now kicks away, and Vengeful Wildcat is moving away. Brother in Arms, Christie's Born to Run, Vengeful Wildcat takes the Tyro by 5. And then came Brother in Arms, Christie's Born to Run, and Sweet Ducky.
Vengeful Wildcat gets the victory, another stakes victory on the weekend for Carlos Marquez, the rider, sitting just off the early pace set by Brother in Arms as he passes that one, heading towards the top of the stretch to score by 3.5 lengths over Brother in Arms. Christie's Born to Run completes the order of the top 3 in his career debut as the longest shot on the board at 26-1. Vengeful Wildcat is a dark bay or brown 2-year-old son of Vindication from Wild Snitch by Forest Wildcat. Bred in Kentucky by the New Farm and owned by the breeders, now 2 for 2 off a maiden victory by a neck last time out at Monmouth Park. Vengeful Wildcat, trained by Ben Perkins and ridden to victory by Carlos Marquez, covers the 5.5 furlongs in 104.59. We will leave Monmouth Park and head to the West Coast now. Del Mar, of course, running their summer meeting out on the Southern California circuit. We'll start things out with their opening day stakes race. Restricted runners in the $100,000 Oceanside on the grass.
And away they go. They all came out smoothly. Messiah's breaks fast, so does Just Magic, and Twirling Candy and the White tucking in right behind them. Gallant Gent on the extreme outside, been followed by Brady Blue Eyes. Down at the rail is Very Fair, then Domination. Hockley has taken back third last, 6 lengths off the leaders. Facing an ace second last, and Killer Bear, the early trailer, 10 lengths would now cover them all. They run to the 3/4 pole, and Messias, the only way he knows how to do it, out on the lead. Messias in front by just under 2 now. In second is Just Magic. Down at the rail we have Twirling Candy, very comfortable. Twirling Candy third, 3 lengths off that leader. Then we come back to Gallant Gent, very fair, was in tight and had a take up. Then Brady Blue Eyes. Here's Hockley racing 6 lengths off the leaders. In behind that comes Domination, Facing an Aces second last, and Killer Bear trails the field. A half-mile left to go. Messias in front at a sensible pace, leads it by a length. Just Magic second. Twirling Candy in the white colours right there third. And let's see, Twirling Candy waiting to go after them. It's going to come on the grandstand side. In behind that comes Very Fair. Then it's Gallant Gent. Hockley is back in 6 off the leaders. Brady Blue Eyes behind that. Top of the lane now, and Messias the leader, going to be taken on though by Twirling Candy. White cap down the centre, and Twirling Candy's coming powerfully. Messias running a brave one, tries to go on and does so willingly. Messias, Twirling Candy, these two pass the 8th pole together, but it's Twirling Candy in another sparkling performance today. And just look at him stride away, big, powerful guy. Twirling Candy and Joel Rosario romp in the Oceanside. Messias was second and Gallant Gent finished third.
Unbeaten Twirling Candy makes his record 3 for 3. Kind of an interesting 3-year-old to watch. This is a horse that began his career with a couple of races on the synthetic out in California, both at Hollywood Park, one last fall, one this spring. Here returns to the races off of a May 29th freshening on the grass and scores very nicely in a fast time in a very professional manner. Certainly an interesting 3-year-old to keep our eye on. He's got some nice pedigree to stretch out as well. He scores by 2 1/4 lengths over Messias, with Gallant Gent back in third. Twirling Candy is a dark bear brown 3-year-old son of Candy Ride from House of Danzing by Chester House. Bred in Kentucky by Sidney and Jenny Craig, owned by the Craig Family Trust and trained by John Sadler, ridden to victory by Joel Rosario. Twirling Candy covers the mile and the Oceanside in 134.69. We'll head right back to Southern California now on Friday afternoon. Opening day here at Saratoga was the 3rd day of the meeting there. 2-year-old Calbreds in the CTBA Stakes.
And away they go. Ought to be trapping from the inside gate is away fast. Rockin' Heather came out smartly in the white blinkers. Going up between those two is Dio's Secret, now dropping back into the 3rd spot. There goes Hi Ho Yodeler on the far side. Behind that comes Swiss Wildcat, only 3 off these leaders. Dio's Secret in a tad tight here. Then we come back to Trickskate, being followed then by Miss Redatore, second last, and 9 off the leaders. And last of all is Social Event. They run past the 3/8 pole now, and it's Rockin' Heather in front, 3 parts of a length. Ought to be Tappin is right there in the 2nd spot. They have been followed by Swiss Wildcat, Hi Ho Yodeler in with a good shot. Hi Ho Yodeler, blue cap on the outside, then Dio's Secret. Behind that comes Social Event. They come into the top of the lane now. Down the centre of the track, Hi Ho Yodeler. Along the inside, we have Swiss Wildcat battling on between them as Rockin' Heather. These 3 line up with a 16th to go. On the inside, Swiss Wildcat, Hi Ho Yodeler, and Rockin' Heather. It's going to be Swiss Wildcat, Swiss Wildcat, Swiss Wildcat won it to Hi Ho Yodeler. Third was Rockin' Heather, and Miss Redatore ran on for 4th.
Swiss Wildcat picks up the victory here, picking up the win off of a couple of tries in Open Company Stakes. This is a filly that had run very well in the Cinderella and then run 6th in the Land of Lucy last time out. A much improved effort here, getting back in with the Calbreds. They start their season's worth of stakes racing action for their juveniles a little earlier in the West Coast than we do here in New York, but Swiss Wildcat certainly looks like one to keep your eye on if she does remain within the state bred rank. She scores by a half over Hi Ho Yodeler, with Rockin' Heather back in third. Swiss Wildcat is a chestnut daughter of Minister's Wildcat from I Can Yodel by Swiss Yodeler. Bred in California by Heinz Steinman and owned by the breeder, trained by Mike Harrington and ridden to victory by Christian Santiago Reyes. Swiss Wildcat covers the 5.5 in 104.15. We'll pause now for a brief message. When we return, we'll be continuing with racing action from Del Mar and then heading north of the border to Canada for some great racing action as well. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Horses and Courses. We'll continue now on the West Coast. Grade 1 horses going 9 furlongs on the turf in the Eddie Read.
And away they go to a perfect start. It looks like Acclamation, once the lead, has been ridden along. However, Enriched is even quicker, and Enriched and Acclamation ensure a good early pace here. The Usual QT and Lou Breton in the blue colour is going to drop back into the 4th position. Just in behind that comes Hyades, who's taken back 3rd last, 6 off the leaders. Victor's Cry down at the rail, and Crowded House, the early trailer. Into the turn they go, and Acclamation now goes on, leads it by a length and a half. Enriched quite content to take back a comfortable 2nd. The Usual QT's in a good spot 3rd, gives them 4-length starts. Lou Breton is in 5th. Hyades is on the outside and been followed by Victor's Cry down at the rail. Crowded House is last, 7 lengths would cover them all. They move on to the backstretch, and Acclamation got it all his own way out here. He's taken a nice hold too. Acclamation by 2 lengths. In the 2nd spot is Enriched. The Usual QT very comfortable in 3rd. Lou Breton has been 4th throughout. He's now 4 off the leader. Hyades is going to move up on the far side, been followed by Victor's Cry, and Crowded House, 6 lengths would cover them all. A half mile to go in the Eddie Read. There's no change. Acclamation just over a length. Enriched is tracking 2nd. Now the Usual QT going for an early run at the rail. Can he get through? Not yet. Lou Breton is right there. Hyades on the far side. Victor's Cry and Crowded House. They come to the top of the lane. They've turned the pressure on. Acclamation taken on by Enriched. These two stride for stride. The Usual QT right behind them. Victor's Cry getting a good run through on the inside, and then Hyades, Lou Breton not going on. They come for home. The Usual QT is let loose, and the Usual QT bursts to the front. An electrifying turn of foot. What a scintillating display from the Usual QT. The Usual QT and Victor Espinosa, very impressive in the Eddie Read. Victor's Cry 2nd, and then Crowded House and Enriched for 3rd.
The Usual QT picks up his returns to winning form. He won an allowance race last time out in his first start back off of the Dubai Duty Free, where he ran a pretty good effort to finish 4th, came back in a good money allowance performance, then right back into stakes company, this multiple stakes winner and grade 1 winner from his 3-year-old season. Nice to see him back and running very strongly. He sat just off the early pace in here, set by Acclamation. Pace was moderate, considering that, this is grade 1 company, and I'm sure the turf is very firm down there. They managed to go 48.50, the Usual QT. Very impressive, kicking clear by 2 over Victor's Cry, who was in off of a very solid win in grade 1 company in his own right. Enriched completes the order of the top 3. The Usual QT is a 4-year-old bay gelding, a son of Unusual Heat from Lunge by Western fame. Bred in California by Carly Van Kempen, owned by Don Van Racing Incorporated, Michael Nentwing, George Sade, and Jeffrey Beyer, trained by James Cassidy, ridden to victory by Victor Espinosa. The Usual QT covers the 9 furlongs on the Del Mar turf in 147.28. Next up, we'll head right back to the Del Mar turf. This time it's Calbreds in the California Dreamin'.
And away they go. All appear to come out well. Bold Chieftain just a tad tight after the start. Triumphant Flight sprinting away to the early lead. Colgan's Chip down at the rail takes 2nd, alongside Kayambi in 3rd, and then it's Bruce's Dream, the greyback, 3rd last. Then comes Swift Winds, and Bold Chieftain, the early trailer, is 7 off the leader. Into the turn they go, and Triumphant Flight got himself an easy lead here as he bounds along 3 lengths in front. In the 2nd spot is Colgan's Chip. They have been followed by Kayambi. Swift Winds down at the rail. Bruce's Dream is 2nd last, gives them 6-length start, and 1 more to Bold Chieftain, who's taken a nice hold, very comfortable at the back. Down the backstretch they go now, and Triumphant Flight in front by 2.5 lengths. Colgan's Chip is striding along 2nd, then it's Kayambi. Swift Winds. Bruce's Dream on the far side, and Bold Chieftain still being patiently ridden. Taken much closer order now, 4 lengths would cover them all. They have a half mile to go, and Triumphant Flight only just in front now as Colgan Chips comes to turn the pressure on. Kayambi on the far side. Then Swift Winds. Bruce's Dream behind that, and Bold Chieftain now 5 off the leader. They are coming to the top of the lane, and Triumphant Flight taken on by Colgan's Chip. They stride for stride. Kayambi comes to make it 3 in a line. Bruce's Dream is getting involved. Swift wins at the rail, and Bold Chieftain now comes under a ride from last, is not responding. Bold Chieftain dead last. Homeward bound, and Colgan's Chip strikes the front, and Colgan's Chip, being confidently ridden, has the advantage. Bruce's Dream, the two greys going to run to the wire together. Colgan's Chip, Bruce's Dream closing. Colgan's Chip, Bruce's Dream, very, very close. Bruce's Dream, Colgan's Chip, the two greys hit it together. Kayambi was third.
Bruce's Dream continues to run very well. This is a horse that is 5 for 6 lifetime. His only loss coming in a third place finish in the Morvich last fall to California Flag, who of course is one of the leading turf sprinters in the country. Bruce's Dream off a nice performance last time out, first in a second level allowance, sprinting at Hollywood Park. Scores by a head over Colgan's Chip, with Kayambi back in the third spot. Bruce's Dream is a gray or roan gelded son of Atticus from Remember Dorothy by Smokester. Bred in California by Bruce Corwin and owned by Corwin Racing, trained by Mike Pipey and ridden to victory by Joe Talamo. Bruce's Dream covers the mile and a 16th on the turf in 140.96. We'll return to California now and the Sunday Stakes feature at Del Mar. 3-year-old fillies in the Grade 2 San Clemente.
Feel for the San Clemente, sent on their way to a perfect start. In the centre, we have Switch setting off for the lead. Now here comes Crisis of Spirit on the outside. Along the inside, Southern Fireball. Those three line up on the lead. Evening Jewel's going to have to go a little wide as they're all bunched in here. Fortuna's pretty keen, throwing her head around in the white cap. Oh, and in tight here was Crisp. Crisp had to steady pretty sharply. City to City is on the outside of that. Between horses comes Weekend Magic, only 4 lengths off the leaders. Then we come back to Conniption, and It Is 6 lengths would cover the lot. Onto the backstretch they go, and Southern Fireball. Mike Smith just allowing her to run along on the lead, 3 parts of a length in front of Crisis of Spirit. Down at the rail, Fortuna, still not relaxed. She's carrying her head high. Between horses is Switch, only 2 off the leaders. Evening Jewel is on the far side. They have been followed by Weekend Magic. Down at the rail, we have Crisp, who's now 4 off the leaders. City to City on the far side. Then it's Conniption, and It is now 7 off the lead. Into the turn they go, and it's still Southern Fireball, the leader. Crisis of Spirit second. Fortuna down at the rail. Now there goes Evening Jewel. And Evening Jewel set sail after the leader. City to City's caught 4 wide, but in with a shot. Weekend Magic is in behind that, and then Crisp. They're at the top of the lane now, and it's still Southern Fireball. Down the centre, Evening Jewel coming with a powerful run. And look at Evening Jewel strike the front now, City to City, trying to make a race of it. But it's Evening Jewel in full flight for the wire in the San Clemente. It is with a late run, and City to City. But Evening Jewel's too good. Evening Jewel wins it well under Victor Espinosa. City to City. Weekend Magic flew late to snatch third.
Evening Jewel picking up the win by 3/4 of a length over City to City, with Weekend Magic back in third, as the three of them were all fairly close on the wire. And I think it's fair to say that the 3-year-old filly division, whether it's on dirt or on turf, is a very closely matched group of horses. We saw Evening Jewel nosed 2 races back in the Kentucky Oaks behind Blind Luck in a very exciting finish. Off of that performance, she headed back out to the West Coast, where she won the Honeymoon last time out. Now she goes back onto the turf and she runs very well, but again, 3/4 of a length with City to City right behind her off of a very solid campaign this spring on the grass. Another exciting race from Evening Jewel, who is a 3-year-old daughter of Northern Fleet, from Jewel of the Night by Giants Causeway. Bred in California by Betty Maybe and Larry Maybe, owned by Tom and Marilyn Brawley and trained by James Cassidy, ridden to victory by Victor Espinosa. Evening Jewel covers the mile on the turf in 135.36. We've got some great racing action to bring to you from Canada as well this weekend. A number of terrific stakes. We'll head back to Sunday Stakes feature at Fort Erie, the Prince of Wales Stakes for Canadian-bred 3-year-olds, the second leg of the Canadian Triple Crown.
And they're off. A tangled beginning for Captain Canuck and Hotep, but a perfect start for the plate winner. And Big Red Mike goes out to the lead. Golden Mocha on hold from in between horses. And from the far outside, Mobile Unit makes it a 3-wide go as they race in front of us for the first time. Big Red Mike's got control, and De Silva's got him under a good grasp as they run to the clubhouse turn. Golden Mocha between horses in a tight spot. Mobile Unit 3 wide in that vanguard, just in behind the leaders, both Hotep and Captain Canuck. The last 2 away are Mob the Warrior and Who We Gonna Call. The first quarter, a deliberate 23 4/5 seconds, and De Silva's taking the plate winner back here. Big Red Mike's going to let these 2 battle in front of him, Golden Mocha and Mobile Unit, who goes on to take over the lead now. Golden Unit leads by a length to Golden Mocha. De Silva's moved Big Red Mike to the outside third. He's 2 lengths off of the lead. He's 3 lengths clear of his nemesis Hotep, who's 4th and in the clear on the outside, 6 lengths off of these joint leaders. Mob the Warriors up a position to 5th on the outside, and then Captain Canuck and Who We Gonna Call. The half was 47 seconds. So the second quarter was faster than the first as Golden Mocha and Mobile Unit continue to do battle. And here's a plate winner now. De Silva gives Big Red Mike his cue, and he's coming to these leaders from 3 wide. Hotep's right there. Mob the Warrior in with a chance. 3 quarters, 1:11 and 2/5 seconds, and Mobile Unit still traveling well between horses. Golden Mocha right there. Hotep coming from 4 wide. Big Red Mike's got to re-rally as the field turns for home, and it's Golden Mocha. Golden Mocha coming back on. Mobile Unit, Big Red Mike's all hard on the far outside. Hotep 2, Mob the Warrior, but it's Golden Mocha, the Panamanian invader, the undefeated Golden Mocha to go all of the way in the Prince of Wales Stakes. Anthony Stephen and Golden Mocha, no doubt about it now. Mobile Unit second, then Big Red Mike, Hotep, Mob the Warrior, Captain Canuck, and Who We Gonna Call? Golden Mocha in 1:56 and 2/5 seconds.
It's a little bit of an upset as Golden Mocha picks up a 2 3/4 length victory at 10-1 over Mobile Unit, with the Queen's Plate winner Big Red Mike back in the 3rd spot. In fact, pretty much sat 3rd almost every way around the racetrack. The top 3 were in the top 3 positions all throughout the going. Golden Mocha, kind of an interesting horse. This was actually his North American debut. He was bred in Ontario, Canada, but he did begin his career racing in Panama, where he went 3 for 3. Now, we've seen a number of horses coming from different Central and South American venues, and some of them struggle a little bit to find their way, but this horse obviously had quite a bit of ability, moved right into pretty good company here with some of the better Canadian-bred 3-year-olds in this crop, and scored very nicely, quite decisively, in fact, by almost 3 lengths. Golden Mocha is a chestnut son of Golden Missile from Sunset Seeker by Seeking the Gold, bred in Ontario by Adina Springs and owned by the Good Friends stable, trained by Brian Lynch and ridden to victory by Anthony Stephen. Golden Mocha covers the mile in 3/16 and 1:56.45. We'll head to Woodbine next for a pair of stakes races. First on Saturday, heading back to the Toronto Cup for 3-year-olds at a mile and a furlong on the grass.
They're off in the Toronto Cup. And Stormy Lord broke on top. To the outside is Kara's Orientation. And Born to Wacta comes on closer to the rail. Then Tyrconnell and Dark Cloud Dancer, Dee's Wando and Woodland Flute. And they continue that long journey up the backstretch. Kara's Orientation on the far outside, Stormy Lord in the center, and Born to Act on the inside. And it's Stormy Lord by a half a length. Out in the center of the course is Kara's Orientation. Born to Act down to the inside, 24 4/5 of a second for that opening quarter on the good turf course. Back and forth is Tyrconnell and Dark Cloud Dancer, Dee's Wando and Woodland Flute. And McElhaney concedes the lead to Kara's Orientation as they run into the far turn. It's Kara's Orientation by a length and a quarter. Now Stormy Lord will take to the outside of Kara's Orientation. Born to Act is third, 48-1 for that opening half mile. They have just under a half mile remaining in the Toronto Cup, and it's Emil Ramsamy and Kara's Orientation taking this field to the 3/8 pole. Stormy Lord chases in second. Born to Act is third. Dark Cloud Dancer called on for run at the rail is Dee's Wando as they come to the top of the stretch. Then Woodland Flute and Tyrconnell, and they're 2 furlongs out, and here comes Stormy Lord. Stormy Lord on the outside. And to the inside, Kara's Orientation. And Stormy Lord has taken the lead. Kara's Orientation trying to find some more to the inside. Back in third is Born to Act, and it's Stormy Lord. McElhaney riding the hair off him, and they're coming down to the wire. And it's Stormy Lord and Jim McElhaney to win the Toronto Cup over a very game Kara's Orientation. Born to Act was third, and Dees Wando was fourth.
Stormy Lord picks up the win off a second last time out in the Charlie Barley. In his most recent start, he picked up an allowance race 2 races back, so his form very sharp over the course of this spring. Showed good speed, get out of the gate in a hurry, but then was able to give up the lead to Kara's Orientation and then re-rally to score by a half over that rival Born to Act, sitting just off the pace and settling for third. Stormy Lord is a chestnut gelded son of Stormy Atlantic from Lady Auchimore by Meadow Lake. Bred in Ontario by Kinghaven Farms Limited and owned by Hat Trick Stable and Kinghaven Farm. Trained by Ian Black and ridden to victory by James McElhaney. Stormy Lord covers the 9 furlongs on the Woodbine turf in 149.62. We'll head right back to Toronto now in the co-featured Saturday Stakes race. Grade 2 older horses on the turf in the Nijinsky Stakes.
They're off in the Nijinsky Stakes. Tierra del Tigre broke running, and just to the inside is Southdale and Grand Adventure, and Grand Adventure is next to the rail. And it's Southdale in the center, Grand Adventure on the inside, those two on even terms. Tierra del Tigre is gathered back in third, and Rahi's Attorney is at the flank of Tierra del Tigre. The gray to the inside, Windward Islands, and the other gray, Cobo Town Ron, trails early. And it's Grand Adventure along the backstretch, pressured by Southdale, and those two have opened up 5 on Windward Islands and Tierra del Tigre. Rahi's Attorney is back in 5th, and trailing in 6th is Cobo Town Ron. 24-3 on the yielding going. Grand Adventure, Southdale is planted right at his neck. There's 5 lengths to Windward Islands. To the outside, Tierra del Tigre. Rahi's Attorney sent 3 wide by Landry as they sweep into the turn. Then Cobo Town Ron. They ran a half in 48-1. They run to the 3/8 pole. Grand Adventure, Southdale still a neck behind, but the others are getting closer. Here comes Tierra del Tigre. Windward Islands to the inside. Rahi's Attorneys 3.5 lengths off the lead. And Cobo Town Ron 13-1 for 3/4. And they're 2 furlongs out in the Nijinsky. And it's Grand Adventure. Grand Adventure leads it by a length. Southdale's put the pressure. On the outside, Windward Islands as they come to the final 1/8 of a mile. Grand Adventure's put the pressure now. Stablemate, Windward Islands might catch him. Windward Islands on the outside has taken the lead, and it's Windward Islands to win the Nijinsky. Windward Islands over Grand Adventure in Southdale with Cobo Town Ron 4th.
Windward Islands back off of a long layoff. This guy had not seen racing action since June of '09. He won an allowance race that day, was in very good form before going to the sidelines, and comes back off the long layoff victorious at 7-1 over Grand Adventure, the favorite in the 6-horse field. Southdale completes the order of the top 3. Windward Islands is a gray or roan gelded son of Cozine from Cruzy by Assert. Bred in Kentucky by Dr. Steve Kramer and Cozine Syndicate. Owned by the Samson Farm and trained by Mark Frostad, who ran 1-2 in this spot. Ridden to victory by Chantal Sutherland, Windward Islands completes the mile and a furlong in 153.58. We've got one more stakes race to bring to you from Canada. That will be the Ontario Matron on Sunday afternoon at Woodbine.
They're off in the Ontario Matron Stakes. And La Rocca broke on top. It's La Rocca under the wire for the first time. Simply Splendid's down to the inside second. Then a Euphony who settles into stride in third. And at the back of the pack is a Floating Heart who's angled off the rail as they head into the clubhouse turn. And it's La Rocca uncontested as they go through the turn. Simply Splendid angles outside now. Floating Heart comes on a third, and Euphony's back in fourth, 25-3. A paceless race as they enter the backstretch. LaRocca's getting things all her own way. LaRocca by a length and a half. Simply Splendid in a tracking position in second. And Patrick Husbands moves Floating Heart out there 3 wide and just a length and a half off the lead. Euphony's back in a fourth, and LaRocca stole a half mile in 50 seconds. They have just under a half mile to go in the Ontario Matron, and LaRocca's well off the rail and leads it by a length and a half. Floating Heart is second. Simply Splendid down to the inside in third, and Euphony's fourth and 3.5 lengths off the lead with 2.5 furlongs to go. LaRocca has led every step of the way. Now Sutherland asks Simply Splendid to go up the rail at the quarter pole. Floating Heart is on the far outside. Euphony in behind that trio, and they turn for home in the Ontario Matron. Simply Splendid, the Nassau winner, comes through on the inside. It's Simply Splendid and LaRocca. Euphony tries to close from out of it. What a battle on the front end. LaRocca's game. And on the inside, Simply Splendid. LaRocca stole the Ontario Matron. Slow splits and got it done. Simply Splendid was second. Tight for show between Floating Heart and Euphony.
LaRocca picks up the victory. She has not been off the board in over a year. She ran a couple of thirds in her most recent performances behind the very talented Tasty Temptation. Here she didn't have to deal with that rival, and she scores by a half on the front end over Simply Splendid with Euphony back in the third spot. LaRocca is a Bay filly, a 4-year-old daughter of Tocket from Perfect Wave by Boston Harbor. She was bred in Kentucky by Overbrook Farm and is owned by Peter Redekop Limited and is trained by Terry Jordan, ridden to victory by James McElhenney. LaRocca covers the mile in a 16th on the Woodbine Synthetic in 1:45.63. We'll pause now for one more brief message. When we return, it's opening weekend at Saratoga. Welcome back to Horses and Courses. It's time for Saratoga. We'll head back to opening day in a pair of stakes races, beginning with the ungraded $75,000 7 furlong James Marvin.
And they're off. Flat Bold breaks on top at Vineyard Haven, came out of the gate well, and now he's racing after the lead. Flat Bold and Vineyard Haven head-to-head for the lead. LeGrand Crew in behind them runs in third. Freezing Fire up the inside now comes on to be fourth. Silver Edition is fifth by 4. The Gray Pretty Discreet is now sixth. And then a Taft Metal Jacket running in seventh. The Toned eighth on the outside. And You and I Forever is the trailer down the backstretch run. 22-2 was the opening quarter mile, and the favorite Vineyard Haven is in front as they move into the far turn. Flat Bold trying to stay with them as they pass the half-mile pole. LeGrand Crew is under a ride, 4 lengths behind the leaders. He's third. And it's another 4 back to Freezing Fires just outside of Half Metal Jacket. Still near the back of the pack, our Silver Edition, followed by a Toned, and then You and I Forever, and Discreet Treasures drop back to trail the field. Flat Bold getting on the even terms with Vineyard Haven. They got a half in the slop here in 45 flat, and the field turns for home. And Flat Bold is really taking it to Vineyard Haven, but Vineyard Haven is holding on to that lead, and Alan Garcia is very confident. He took a peek back at the field, confident enough to hold off Half Metal Jacket, who now moves to second. But it is Vineyard Haven who's splashing merrily through the stretch here at Saratoga. Alan Garcia asked him for nothing in the final 3/16 of a mile. He won by a length. He could have won by a lot more than that. Half Metal Jacket completes the exacta there, and You and I Forever came from last to get third.
In a race that certainly has a look of a prep race for the final sprint of the big sprint of the meeting here, the Forgo at the end of the meeting. Vineyard Haven returns very strong, a length and 3/4 the better of Half Metal Jacket in a throttle down performance. You and I Forever rebounds off a couple of disappointing performances to finish in the third spot. A nice return race from Vineyard Haven, who of course we saw up here last summer in races like the King's Bishop, where he was very impressive. He did get the win that day and was disqualified for interfering with Captain Candyman Can. He headed out of town and scored in Stakes Company. His last race of his 3-year-old season was a very strong finish in the Cigar Mile. He returns victorious, and it's certainly nice to have this 4-year-old around in the sprinting division, and I would suspect that he is considered now the favorite for the end of the meeting's Grade 1 Forgo. Vineyard Haven is a 4-year-old Grayer Roan colt, the son of Lido Palace from Princess Aloha by Aloha Prospector. Bred in Florida by Lynn Scase and owned by Godolphin Racing. Trained by Saeed bin Saror, with the very capable Rick Matee handling things here in Saratoga. Ridden to victory by Alan Garcia. Vineyard Haven covers the 7 furlongs on that sea of slop in 122.30. We'll continue with opening day stakes racing action now. The traditional graded stakes on the card. The Grade 3 Schuylerville for 3-year-old fillies.
And they're off. Show Me the Bling. Blake's out of there first. Down on the inside, Stop Spending Marie is there. Spa Princess, or rather Spa Sunrise in between horses, and Let's Get Fiscal. Those 4 across the track. They're 5 lengths ahead of Let Me Go and Dos Lunas the trailer. 4 of them racing for the far turn together. Spa Sunrise now checked back into 4th. Now it's 3 of them through the opening quarter in 21-4. The pace is hot here, and it stops Spending Maria, who's got a narrow lead. Let's Get Fiscal, though, right back at her, second on the outside. 2 lengths back, Show Me the Bling runs in 3rd. 3 lengths back to Let Me Go is now 4th on the outside. Spa Sunrise is tailed back into 5th position, and Dos Lunas is the trailer. Let's Get Physical and Stop Spending Maria, and they head for home together. They've been at each other through a half mile in 45 and 4/5 seconds. On the far outside, Let Me Go comes on late, and Show Me the Bling. Stop Spending Maria has turned back. Let's Get Fiscal. Here comes Let Me Go, and a very green Show Me the Bling coming down to the wire, and it is Let Me Go who wins the Schuylerville in the slop, defeating Stop Spending Maria and Show Me the Bling.
And it was a little bit of an upset as Let Me Go picks up the victory over Stop Spending Maria, the favorite at 2-1 on this field, with Show Me the Bling back in 3rd. And it was a rather eventful stretch run, as Show Me the Bling appeared to be getting a little bit leg weary by the top of the stretch, and then ran on quite nicely till somewhere in about the 16th grounds or so. Ducked in rather dramatically. I'm not sure if she was just getting leg weary, perhaps missing the beat on her lead change, but she did end up tracking rather dramatically inwardly. In the meantime, Let Me Go had found clear sailing under Frederick Lonclude, who was in from Kentucky. He had been running, competing very successfully in the Kentucky circuit down at Churchill Downs this spring, had the option to go to Ellis, decided to come here and take on the one of the most challenging jockey colonies anywhere in the country, and picked up the victory, his first victory at Saratoga in graded stakes company with Let Me Go. Let Me Go is a chestnut filly, a daughter of First Samurai from Message Read by Crypto Clearance. Bred in Kentucky by Lansden Robbins and owned by the breeder, trained by Richard Dutrow Jr. She had won a maiden special by 7+ lengths last time out at Churchill Downs. Here under confident handling, scores yet again under Freddie Lonclude. Let Me Go covers the 6 in 113.67. We'll head into Saturday now, and of course the stakes feature on Saturday afternoon, the Betfair TVG Coaching Club American Oaks, a Grade 1 for 3-year-old fillies.
And they're off. Seeking the title, breaking alertly. Absent-minded is there, acting happy on the outside. Devil May Care right up there and behind that group. And toward the rail, it's Bahama Bound. Biofuel's going to be the early trailer. Around the clubhouse turn, Absent-minded leads the field. Absent-minded emerges from the pack with the lead by a length. On the outside, acting happy now. Edges up to be second, seeking the title is third. And the favorite, Devil May Care, right there in between horses, on hold while four. She's only 2.5 lengths from the lead. A break of 3 back to Bahama Bound, who's settled into an easy rhythm. Another 2 back to Biofuel, who trails after a quarter in a reasonable 24 2/5 seconds. So down the back stretch run here. There's about 5 furlongs remaining here. And Absent-minded continues uncontested on the lead. Acting Happy's not far behind. Seeking the title is third. And Johnny Velasquez has a very strong hold of Devil May Care, in no hurry to move yet. With a half mile to go, Devil May Care remains fourth. Then Bahama Bound and Biofuel comes up on the inside. Now Biofuel starting to come alive as they round the far turn. 48-1 was the half mile. 3 furlongs from the line. Absent-minded, acting happy. Devil May Care in the clear and poised for the final quarter mile. Biofuel comes on through between horses. Bahama Bound there on the far outside and seeking the title at the rail. A tight pack turning for home. They are led by Devil May Care at the top of the stretch. Johnny Velasquez steals a peek back to see that Biofuel is right next to him now. Down to the final furlong. Now he says go at the filly. Devil May Care a tap or two. She's on her way to a 2.5 length lead. Leaving Biofuel and the rest behind. Devil May Care. Devil May Care runs through the stretch in the final quarter mile to win by 4 here. Biofuel finishing second. Acting Happy was third. And the final time here was 1:49-2.
Devil May Care once again victorious off a win last time out in the Mother Goose. Under confident ride by John Velasquez, scores away by 4 over Biofuel, who rallied well from off the pace. I think it's fair to say she may have been put at a little bit of a disadvantage by the scratch of both Connie and Michael and Lisa's Booby Trap, both of whom have considerable early speed. Acting Happy completes the order of the top 3 off a win last time out at Pimlico in the Black-Eyed Susan. Devil May Care is a 3-year-old bay filly, a daughter of Malibu Moon from Kelly's Ransom by Red Ransom. Bred in Kentucky by Diamond A Racing Corp and owned by the Glen Crest Farm Limited, trained by Todd Pletcher and ridden to victory by John Velasquez. Devil May Care covers the mile and a furlong at Saratoga in 1:49.42. We'll head next into the Sunday Stakes feature. 2-year-olds in action once again in the Sanford.
And they're off. Oh, and Bail Out the Cat missed the break very awkwardly. Worse yet, the rider, Alan Garcia, has lost the irons. They have spotted the field, almost an insurmountable lead. 8 or 9 lengths at the back of the pack is Bail Out the Cat up front. Here's Maybe So, Maybe Not for the lead. Another Silver Oak runs in second. On the outside, Commonwealth rushes third. Chip Shot is now fourth. 2 lengths back, Lubrisi runs in fifth. And then Nacho Saint, followed by Blue Right By, and playing catch-up now is Bail Out the Cat. The favorite remains last as they round the far turn here in the Sanford, the quarter, 22 1/5 seconds. Maybe So, Maybe Not holds that lead over another Silver Oak. Chip Shot moves to third just outside the quarter pole. And farther back, Lubrisi and Blue Right By on the turn into the stretch. Maybe So, Maybe Not holding on to the lead. Another Silver Oak driving hard second. Nacho Saint on the scene late. Down to the final 16th. Maybe So, Maybe Not. Another Silver Oak and Nacho Saint. Maybe So, Maybe Not. Indeed, he did. Wins the Sanford by a length over Nacho Saint and another Silver Oak.
It's another upset with a Kentucky shipper. This time another 9-1 horse under Julien Leparoux, a slightly different Frenchman from the Schuylerville, but Julien Leparoux goes to the front on Maybe So, Maybe Not and scores by a length and a half over Nacho Saint. with another Silver Oak completing the top 3 after running in the chaser's role early. Of course, the race was somewhat changed right as they broke from the starting gate, with Bailout the Cat expected to be the pacemaker, having a little bit of trouble at the gate. Not that often you see the comment line in the form or in the racing results that says brutal start, but he really did get off to a very poor start, spotting the field dramatically and was taken immediately out of his game. Trainer of that horse has indicated, that's Rick Violet, has indicated that he came out of the race okay, and obviously it probably made sense not to push too hard and just sort of see what kind of a race he got out of him nonetheless. Unfortunately, it did change things rather dramatically, but to the benefit, for example, of the Maybe So, Maybe Not, who was able to get to the front with considerably more ease than he might have had to use with Bela the Cat, showing his typical speed. Maybe So, Maybe Not, coming in out of a win last time out in the Churchill Downs maiden by 6 lengths. So obviously a horse that had been running fairly well, and after seeing the recent maiden winner win from Churchill win the Schuylerville on Saturday, you'd think that maybe the price would have been a little bit lower. Maybe So, Maybe Not is a bay gelding, a son of Sunday Break from Majestic Mommy by Olympio, bred in Kentucky by Arthur Sisney and Carolyn Sisney, owned by the breeders and trained by Mike Maker, ridden to victory by Julian Leperoux. The 2-year-old stakes races swept by Kentucky shippers this year, as Maybe So, Maybe Not covers the 6 and 110.97. That'll wrap up a busy edition of Horses and Courses. Thank you for joining us here as we take a look at the stakes racing action from across the country each weekend. We hope you'll be able to join us again next time. Until then, I'm Jean Wood. Have a great week at the races.